Ladies and gentlemen, brothers, sisters, lovers, partners, and those who long for connection, today I want to talk about something people whisper about, something people feel deeply but rarely express with honesty: the impact of stress on sex and intimacy. Not the glossy version you see on screens. Not the version Instagram therapists summarize in 3 colorful slides. But the real version, the human version, the lived version, the version that shapes our relationships, our self-worth, and our emotional lives in ways that often go unseen. Because behind closed doors, far away from filters, hashtags, and inspirational quotes, stress quietly becomes one of the greatest thieves of connection. And if you've ever felt distance growing between you and someone you love, if you've ever wondered why the spark dimmed, if you've ever questioned whether you were still desirable, or still capable, or still loved, you are not alone. This message is for you. Part 1. The secret weight we carry. Stress is a strange creature. It doesn't knock. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't sit politely in a corner waiting for a convenient hour. It shows up in the middle of the night. It shows up during breakfast when you're already running late. It shows up in your paycheck, in your workload, in your unanswered messages, in your responsibilities, in the parts of life that demand more and more while giving very little back. And slowly, quietly, it begins to change the way we show up in our relationships. Because when the mind is heavy, the heart becomes guarded. When the heart is guarded, the body follows. And when the body follows, intimacy no longer feels like a sanctuary. It feels like another task, another expectation, another thing you're afraid of failing at. This is where many people begin to wonder, what's wrong with me? Why don't I feel desire like I used to? Why am I not connecting the way I used to? Why does everything feel so distant? But here's the truth. There is nothing wrong with you. Nothing broken. Nothing defective. Nothing shameful. Stress doesn't just weigh on the mind. It rewires how we feel, how we connect, how we respond, and how we love. And nobody tells us that. We think intimacy is supposed to remain untouched by life. We think desire should be immune to pressure. We think love should magically persist no matter how overwhelmed our nervous system becomes. But intimacy lives inside the human body. And the body remembers every burden you carry. Part 2. When stress turns intimacy into silence. Let's be honest, stress can make intimacy feel complicated. It makes us tired. It makes us irritable. It makes us distant. It makes us numb. It makes us anxious. It makes us shut down. But more than anything, stress creates silence. Silence between partners. Silence about needs. Silence about fears. Silence about disappointment. Silence about longing. And this silence becomes a wall, one brick at a time. You stop flirting the way you used to. You stop reaching out at night. You stop holding each other without purpose. The small touches fade. The soft moments evaporate. The spontaneous laughter becomes rare. Then the questions begin. Does my partner still want me? Did they still find me attractive? Did we lose our connection? Is this the beginning of the end? But the truth is simpler, and far more human. Most couples don't lose intimacy because the love is gone. They lose intimacy because the weight of life becomes heavier than their capacity to carry it together. And nobody teaches us how to navigate that. Nobody teaches us how to handle a partner who is stressed beyond words. Nobody teaches us how to hold space for someone who is overwhelmed. Nobody teaches us how to communicate desire when the world feels too loud. Nobody teaches us how to protect a relationship from the outside chaos creeping into it. So we assume the worst, even when the love is still there, quiet, exhausted, and buried under stress. Part 3. The emotional physics of love. You see, intimacy isn't only physical. It is emotional, psychological, energetic. Sex is not just a bodily act, it is an emotional language. A connection of trust. A moment of surrender. A space where you allow someone to see you without armor. And stress is the armor that becomes too heavy to take off. When your mind is racing. When your responsibilities are drowning you. When you're overwhelmed, depleted, or distracted. Your body does not feel safe enough to surrender. Your heart does not feel open enough to connect. Your mind does not feel quiet enough to desire. This is not failure. This is biology. This is humanity. This is truth. Desire cannot thrive in a body that's in survival mode. Intimacy cannot deepen in a heart that's overwhelmed. Connection cannot bloom in a mind that's constantly scanning for danger. And yet, Many people blame themselves. Why am I not enough? Why can't I feel like I used to? What happened to me? But hear me when I say this gently. Nothing happened to you. Life happened around you. Stress happened inside you. You are still whole. You are still worthy. You are still capable of love, desire, and deep connection. Your story isn't over. You're just carrying too much. Part 4. Love needs more than attraction, it needs intention. We often believe that intimacy dies because attraction fades. But most of the time, attraction doesn't fade, attention does. Stress pulls our attention inward. We become consumed by what needs to be done. We forget what needs to be nurtured. Intimacy requires more than chemistry. It requires intentionality. It requires slowing down. It requires presence. It requires honesty. It requires vulnerability. It requires saying, I'm struggling. I'm overwhelmed. I need support. You cannot build intimacy while pretending everything is fine. You cannot deepen connection while holding back the truth. You cannot feel close to someone while hiding your stress behind a mask of strength. Let me remind you, real intimacy is not built through perfection. It is built through humanity. Through the courage to say, I'm tired, I'm scared, I'm stressed, I'm hurting, I need you, I still want us. This is what transforms disconnect into closeness. This is what turns tension into understanding. This is what revives intimacy from the quiet ashes of stress. Part 5. Rebuilding the bridge. If stress has impacted your relationship, if it has dimmed your intimacy or created emotional distance, there is hope. Not fantasy hope, not Hollywood hope, but real, grounded, practical hope. Here are truths to remember. 1. You do not heal intimacy by forcing desire. You heal intimacy by creating safety, emotional, mental, and personal safety. 2. You do not fix stress by ignoring it. You fix stress by naming it, facing it, and asking for support. 3. You do not reconnect by blaming each other. You reconnect by learning each other's burdens. 4. You do not strengthen love by avoiding hard conversations. You strengthen love by speaking your truth with compassion. 5. You do not find closeness through pressure. You find closeness through presence. Intimacy is not a performance. It is a partnership. And partnership means meeting each other where you are, not where you wish you were. If you are struggling to feel closeness, if you feel disconnected from your partner, if stress is robbing you of desire, start with compassion, start with empathy, start with truth, start with small gestures, gentle touches, quiet moments, shared breaths. Intimacy is not something you rush back into. It is something you slowly rediscover. One moment at a time. Part 6. Your worth is not defined by your stress. Let me speak especially to you, the person who feels guilty about their lack of desire. The person who feels ashamed of their distance. The person who believes they are failing their partner. The person who is afraid they are no longer enough. Please listen. You are not defined by your stress. Your worth is not measured by how often you feel desire. Your value is not diminished because you are tired, overwhelmed, or emotionally drained. You are human. You love deeply. You carry more than you admit. And you deserve grace. Sex does not determine your value. Intimacy does not determine your identity. Your struggles do not determine your future. You are allowed to heal. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to rediscover yourself and your connection at your own pace. And you deserve a partner who understands that. A partner who sees you, not just your stress, not just your exhaustion, not just your temporary distance, but you. Part 7. A new definition of love. Maybe it's time we redefine intimacy. Not as something that only happens when life is perfect, but something that grows because we choose each other even when life is difficult. Maybe intimacy is not the absence of stress. Maybe intimacy is learning to hold each other through it. Maybe intimacy is not the spark that magically appears every night. Maybe intimacy is the fire you both tend to, even when the world feels cold. Maybe intimacy is not passion without obstacles. Maybe it is passion despite obstacles. And maybe love, real love, is not found in the easy moments, but in the moments when everything feels heavy, and you reach across the distance anyway. Part 8. You are not alone. If you feel disconnected, you are not alone. If stress has impacted your intimacy, you are not alone. If you are trying to rebuild connection, you are not alone. Millions of people are silently carrying the same struggle. Millions of relationships are learning how to navigate stress and desire. Millions of hearts are searching for closeness again. Your story is not a failure. Your relationship is not broken. Your intimacy is not gone, it is simply waiting for the space to breathe again. And it will. Because the human heart is resilient. Because connection is powerful. Because love, when given time and truth, always finds its way back. Final message. You still deserve joy, pleasure, and deep connection. So let this be your reminder. Stress may dim intimacy, but it does not destroy it. It may silence desire, but it does not erase it. It may create distance, but it does not make closeness impossible. You are capable of rebuilding. You are capable of reconnecting. You are capable of experiencing passion, affection, and deep emotional closeness again. Your story is still unfolding. Your connection is still alive. And your heart, despite everything, still knows how to love. Take one step. Have one conversation. Share one moment of honesty. Choose connection, gently, again and again. Because intimacy is not something you lose forever. It is something you return to, once you finally allow yourself to breathe.